Look, today we'll be going over Chapter 9, which is Strategic Initiative Execution. In this, in this chapter, we'll be talking about what is called the execution trap, which is blaming poor execution for the failure of your strategy. And we'll be answering the question, how good is a strategy if it really isn't implementable? First of all, we're going to start down this path by going over the elements of strategy. A strategy isn't a strategy without a couple of key things. First of all, you need a clear understanding of what the organization is doing and why it is doing it. The boundary conditions, which explain the way that we play, kind of gives us an idea of where we are, what we're doing, what markets we're going to be in, exactly what our limitations are, both internally and externally, and our tangible objectives, which are the objectives that are that we need to have clear. We need it to be clear and measurable because we're going to use these to establish our expectations. So this chapter mentioned an article from Harvard Business Review from April 2008 by authors Dave Collis and Michael Ruckstad, titled, "Can You Say What Your Strategy Is?" Now, in this Harvard Business Review article, the argument was made that most executives they're struggling to clearly articulate their company's strategy, which undermines both the formulation and the execution. This article also provides a practical framework for crafting a concise and actionable strategy statement that can easily be communicated and internalized throughout the organization. Some of the strategy statement elements, we have three key components to this for any effective strategy statement. First of all, we're talking about the objective, which defines the specific goal that the strategy is designed to achieve. That is something that should be clear, singular, measurable, and time bound. For example, rather than vaguely aiming to say, oh, we're going to grow profitably, companies should specify whether growth or profitability is the priority because they're two different things, and then by when it should be achieved. So the objective guides decision making and ensures organizational alignment. Now, for the scope kind of outlines the boundaries within the company has to operate. Now, this can include what customer segments it is that we're serving, or what is our geographic reach? Are we local, mid-continent? Are we national? Are we international? The products or services or service categories that we offer as well. Now, the scope clarifies what the company will and will not do. It helps to focus our resources and avoid distractions. Advantage. This is the most critical element. It defines what the company will do differently or better than competitors to achieve its objective. Now, Advantage has two different parts. It has the value proposition, which is why your customers should choose your product or service or the alternatives that are available in the market. Or we do have also the unique activities involved with this. The unique activities are how the company's internal processes and resources are configured to deliver this value. It's it's essentially ways that our competitors cannot easily replicate. For trade-offs and distinctiveness, that's kind of where that goes into. It's what trade-offs and distinctiveness does is it defines our objective, our scope, and advantage. Requires defining all of those things requires making explicit trade-offs. So, for example, a company that's prioritizing growth may need to accept lower profitability, like we were mentioning before. These trade-offs are what make a strategy distinctive and prevent it from becoming generic or easily copied by our competitors. So our strategy statement takes a look at four different things: customer needs, competitor analysis, compatibility assessment, and strategic sweet spot. So the whole process involves a deep analysis of what our customer needs and our segmentation. Understanding our competitors' strategies and anticipating changes, that's what is our competitor analysis portion of this. When we look to our own capability assessment, that's taking into account our objective assessment of our company's own capabilities and resources. Do we have, one of the most important things is, do we have the right people in order to execute this strategy? Then finally, what we want to do is find that strategic sweet spot. This is where the company's strength aligns with the customer's needs in a way that competitors are not able to match. So the end result should be a brief and clear statement for our strategy statement. It's often about 35 words or less, and it encapsulates that company's objective, scope, and advantage. This statement should be widely communicated and used to guide behavior at all levels of the organization. So why it matters. A well understood strategy statement is going to involve a lot of different things. It's going to align behavior across the business. It's going to facilitate decision making at all levels of the business. It's going to ensure that all employees understand how their work contributes to the overall company's goals. And it's also going to increase the likelihood of successful strategy execution and long-term performance. One of the quotes that they did have from the Collis and Ruckstadt article was, "A well-understood statement of strategy aligns behavior with the business. It ensures that the choices everyone makes reinforce one another and that everyone is on the same page." So now we get to our strategic initiative execution. There's a quote in there that also that stated, "Good assets can be ruined by poor execution, but poor assets cannot be salvaged by superior execution." And basically, what that's saying is that if you have good assets, but you don't have good execution or the ability, the capability, it's not going to really matter. Poor assets, on the other hand, if your assets, if your human resources are not capable of executing a well developed strategy, then that can't be done either. So basically, strategy must include some tangible objectives. Those objectives must be understandable, agreed upon, have to have an understandable path forward What is our view of the future? What is our plan? What is our forecast? How will we become what we want to become, or how will we evolve into what it is that we want to become? So, again, a strategy without a path will never be clear. A strategy that cannot handle less than perfect execution will not deliver on its value. Not to the extent that it should. Anyway, it'll deliver, but it won't be the best that it can be. So our strategic initiative portfolio is going to consist of a few things. That's our so the categories of our initiatives are going to be existing business operations. We're focusing on efficiency and cost containment, growth and investment. So we're looking at investment levels and our internal rate of return for the ventures that we've got going on. Organizational change or improvement. Now, this is going to be our alignment between our goals and our human resources. The managing of the initiatives portfolio is going to include a willingness to disinvest in some of the initiatives that we have in favor of some more important ones or some more viable ones. Now, obviously, it may be difficult to slow or halt the progress of some of the ones that we currently are engaged in. But if we are to be, if we are to move forward, that is something that we will eventually need to wind down and kind of move away from that. And management must also be willing to deprioritize some of the initiatives that either aren't working up to their potential, or if there's a new potential that we see that could work even better, then the ability to go to that. Prioritization and visibility. Now, this is where we really get into the importance of it. Our initiative relationships. We need to be able to. It's important to be able to see just how the initiatives relate to one another. Do they mesh well? Do they dovetail really well? If they don't, then how can we help them to do that? Relative importance of the initiative does need to be clear and understood. And chosen initiatives need to consider ongoing changes in circumstances. Like it's the business world is shifting sands all the time. There are ongoing changes in circumstances, in challenges, in people. You have people coming and going all the time. Levels of urgency, etc. So portfolio and project management. A lot of times we will have the multi-threaded projects, which are going to be think of it like layers of an onion. You have a lot of different layers. You'll see a lot of different things that are interconnected and with different tasks and different dependencies. Good practices when those follow established project management practices to make sure that there's efficient execution and resource allocation. Again, our human resources. The human resources across the organization are going to leverage everybody's skills and expertise in the most efficient and effective manner. Okay, so minding the metrics. What that means is we're going to take a look at, we're going to watch the metrics and how they everything comes across, how the numbers come in as we're working with this. We're going to talk about some leading indicators and some lagging indicators. The leading indicators are the ones that are the early stage indicators. These are the ones that are during the prep stages. It includes like skill assessment, our goals, defining what our milestones are, and defining what the metrics are. Mid stage, we're going to have some in process indicators. That's going to illustrate progress on different milestones, on how we've gotten there and how well we're doing, the different project metrics, how our development plans are working out, and if we need to change anything, which is also known as course correction. Our advanced stage, which is our output indicators, those are going to provide some observations, conclusions. It's going to give us the results of how everybody was working together, how the recommendations to the working team, the steering committee, the executive oversight all occurred, and then relaying all that information to the necessary stakeholders. The completed stage, which is our lagging indicator, that's going to include our strategy impact on our financial performance. How well did it do? Did it live up to our expectations? Were the numbers there? Was the business model done correctly? Was the market disrupted? Did we do it, or was it done to us? In addition to market share and our image improvement as well. So executing on strategic initiatives. We have an acronym here involved in this one, the FRAC. It's focus, resources, advocacy, communication, and change management. The focus involves our members devoting their time according to their function. What it is that they bring to the table. Resources. We're taking our time to develop our budget and provide guidance, especially if you're a subject matter expert, or SME, as they're often called. Advocacy is our steering committee supporting and championing our initiative that we're doing. Communication and change management. They're in charge of that. That's the initiative that's in charge of preparing the organization for the strategic initiatives that are going to occur. That what's occurring with the working team and between the working team and the steering committee. It just keeps everybody in the loop on what's being done. One of the elements to that, though, is the old phrase of the only constant is change. And so, with communication, and our change management, you can expect changes to scope and approach. It's just the nature of the beast. There's transitions, like I mentioned earlier. There's transitions with personnel that occur. It's how we shift and adjust to this, and how we do it mostly is with a lot of frequent communication and documentation. What is the objective and the benefit to the company? How will it impact me? What business processes will be changing? Where can I find out more about the resources that I'm going to be needing? So again, I mentioned the team. So the steering committee, the working team, and the SMEs, the subject matter experts. Now, the steering committee needs to be the right combination of organizational authority, people with expertise, and strong management. It needs to be also pretty flexible and open to new ideas. I mean, there should be nothing sacred about any of the ideas that are that are in play here. Nothing. It, it has to. You have to kind of leave your ego at the door. Check it on your way in. It should also at least have one member from the primary working team as well. Execution essentials. Some of the things that are absolutely essential to an organization, really no matter what, but especially when you're executing strategic initiatives, competent management. It's management that understands what the business is, understands what it is that we're trying to do, and knows how to guide us to get us there. Credible management. It's management that says this is what we're going to do, and then actually goes out and does it, so that they walk the walk and they talk the talk. Management that has a path forward with data and shows future value creation also is absolutely essential to execution to the execution of our initiatives. So, so of course, one of the things that I highly recommend, is to go out and get different sources of information. Also, the there's a book by Simon Sinek that is absolutely phenomenal about this type of subject. It's a book called Start with Why. What that does is Start with Why offers some really powerful insights that are related to strategic initiative execution. Like some of the things that it talks about are purpose aligning with strategy. So you need a clear why of what makes every initiative that supports the organizations. We make sure that every initiative clearly supports the organization's core mission. That makes a clear association with the strategy. Um, Strategic initiatives need belief, not just people to buy into them. Um, you need the belief that this is going to work, that this is something that's that your team's engaged in and committed in. That they are going to succeed. The why also provides direction during uncertainty. Strategic plans do shift, and a strong why will help teams make aligned decisions that are often in alignment with the organizational values. Building organizational cohesion. This is when everybody from across the organization understands the why and they come together, and it helps with the reduction of the siloing effect, which is everybody kind of being in their own little group, their own little silo. But the why initiative was starting with why also helps um, people to communicate better. It helps people to easier, more easier rally around than those explained with just timelines and metrics alone. So yeah, here's some more things that we've got going on with the Start with Why book. Um, Basically, we're just making sure that the people are, you know, when we do this, we realize that people are going to work harder when their efforts mean something, and it's not just, you're not just talking about KPIs or um, key performance indicators or um, CSFs, which are critical success factors. It's really how everything works together. Um, it's kind of a lot of uh, things that are rooted in um, why we do things and how it is that we can prioritize, especially when resources are limited to drive our mission and not just our arbitrary goals. Um, you know, the last thing I wanted to leave you with is, change initiatives will stick better. You know, Strategic initiatives are a time of huge change, and that can make a lot of people very nervous. Uh, people are wondering, okay, where do I fit in? How do I do this? Will I have the resources to do what I need to do? That's this is going to help them to feel better. It makes them helps them to feel that it's not quite as arbitrary and just unclear. So change initiatives are really kind of grounded in shared why of and help it to feel more organic and not like it's being forced upon you. And with that, I will be concluding my review of chapter 9 today. Thank you.